Hello and welcome to This Inspired Life. My name is Andy Taylor, and in this video we're talking about daydreaming. And we're talking about daydreaming in the context of it being a wonderfully useful skill set and an amazingly powerful practice that we can all engage in every single day of our lives to help us create that which we want to achieve in the world. And you might think I'm a bit loopy by suggesting that daydreaming is a powerful skill set, but it really is. It really is. You look around you, if you're in a room or in a building or on a street or in a city, in a town, in a vehicle, everything, looking at this on a computer, laptop, phone, wherever, anything you see that was influenced by man started out as an idea in somebody's head. And then they played with that idea, they perfected that idea, and they rehearsed that idea. In my previous video about taking the impossible and making it possible, I mentioned a couple of examples of people who did this practice to get results in advance. The names that I mentioned in that video were Sir Roger Bannister, Michael Jordan, Michael Schumacher, Mika Hakkinen, and countless number of other sports people and famous people and celebrities, etc. They all practice what they do to such a degree in their head of perfection, it has to be said, before they even lift a racket or kick a ball or pick up a basketball or get in a car. These people are incredibly renowned for achievement, for being successful at what they do, breaking records. And the reason for it, one of the biggest reasons for it, is the fact that they do this. They follow this process. They create the results that they want in advance in their head before they even get dressed to perform the task or to do the sport, to run the race or to drive the race. And it's just incredible to me that this is still such a lowly regarded practice among success and achievement coaches and quote-unquote gurus and materials that you can find online. It is touched on, don't get me wrong, it does tend to be picked up on and it's mentioned, but it's never really got on its own special, if that makes sense. So I'm going to correct that today, because that's what this video is all about. It's about creating results in advance, but more so it's about daydreaming, as I said. Now, I love daydreaming. I think it is the most magical, amazing practice you can ever commit to doing on a daily basis. I think in the last 5 years there's maybe been a handful of days when I haven't committed to doing this. And, you know, truth be told, one of those days was when I was involved in a near fatal car accident last year. So I can kind of be forgiven for that one. But it's such a critical part of what I do now every single day that I feel really bad on those odd days when I can't or don't manage to do it more than 20 minutes a day. I feel like crap because I feel like I've let myself down by not committing more than 20 minutes to do this. Don't get me wrong, I will almost always do it to some degree, even if it's just squeezing 10 minutes in. But majority of the time, it's well over an hour every day. 30 minutes is kind of my minimum. If I go below 30, I really get cranky. So an hour is about the average for this, for me. And it's usually first thing in the morning because it helps me to establish what I need to do on a daily basis that particular day. So what is the process? So let's start a little bit further back than that. Why is it so important? What does it achieve? Well, daydreaming is the ultimate expression of creating those results in advance that we talked about before. Because what you're doing is you are taking the concerted effort, you're making a concerted conscious effort to think about and create in your head the result you want in the world. Now, in our examples, we're creating a life and we're creating the version of our life that we want to live. So we're creating the outcome that we want to achieve, the life we want to live in the future. So we're actually creating our life, really, rather than just trick shots or a lap of a race circuit or something like that. So you might think it's actually more complex. It's actually not. It's the same process, and it doesn't matter what you're doing. The same process applies. It's about detail and it's about repetition. So for our example, using it in the context of this inspired life, what I want to work through with you is just a few ideas that you can take away today and get off the ground running. Because, we're looking at an opportunity now with everything that's going on in the world. So many people are out of work or on furlough still. And it's just, even if you're back at work now, the whole period of time off, if you haven't been able to work, being stuck at home, being isolated at home, being locked in, it gives us an opportunity, or it's given the majority of people that I've spoken to a really good kick in the ass and an opportunity to reflect on their life and what they love about it and what they don't. Now, even if you haven't actually done that while you've been away from the work environment, while you've been off and at home, it's not too late to. You just, it's just a case of, okay, this is where my life is. Am I happy? And there's always going to be something that we want to work on. There's always something that we aren't quite happy with. But what we're doing is we're shooting for the moon here, because what I want us to do, what I want us all to kind of work towards, is the ultimate expression of who we are, the ultimate expression of life for us. That's what I want us to create. That's what I want each one of us to create, is what is the ultimate expression of life for us. So we're talking every conceivable sphere of life. So parenting, relationships, intimate and friendships, family relationships, so siblings, parents, friends, work colleagues, customers and clients. Okay, those are all lumped into relationships. Environmental is crucial, and we're going to start with that one in just a moment. But where are you? Where do you want to be? Where do you want to call home? What does that home look like? We'll go into that in much detail in a moment, as I said, but what do you want to be doing? So is your current job your dream job, or is there something you would much rather be doing and getting paid for? What is that? What does that look like? What does that feel like? Okay. And your health, both mental and physical, your well-being, again, both physical and mental, because the both of them go, when I say, rather than keep saying health or mental health, I just refer to health, because they're like that. If you don't have a healthy mind, your body can be as healthy as you like, but you're still going to suffer. And vice versa, you can have the mental acuity of a genius, an absolute genius. But if your body is ailing and ill constantly, then your quality of life is going to be lessened. Okay, you can see how that works both ways. So what I want to do with this is to actively encourage you to participate, number one. And that requires, for me personally, I would suggest at least 30 minutes. So find somewhere that's quiet, that's out of the way, where you won't be disturbed, for at least 30 minutes, 20 at a push. But I recommend 30 for the first time at this, because it's going to take some practice. You need to be doing this every day. But you'll be pleased to hear, with your busy little lives, that you don't have to commit to 30 minutes to an hour every single day. But at least once a week, find an hour to do this would be great, and you'll get a lot of benefit from it, I promise you that. So to start with, let's say 20 to 30 minutes, where you can ditch the devices, switch off the phone, switch off social media, switch off the TV, no noise, no disruption, somewhere nice and quiet, somewhere you can relax, and that is a soothing place to be for you. And just start thinking about, okay, so what would my perfect life look like? What would the ultimate expression of life for me look like? We'll use that terminology for consistency. Okay, so if you're new to any kind of visualization and creative visualization, then it can be quite tricky for some of the more ethereal concepts and constructs like mental well-being. How do I even start with that? But what I recommend is that a top tip from me would be to focus on what when you think about it is a tangible construction. So that is your home. Because home is a huge part of every single one of our lives. Okay, where do you call home? I'm not just talking about the building you're in. I'm talking about where. What is the environment like? Are you on the beach? Are you in the mountains? Are you by a lake? Are you in a field? Are you in a city? You know, it's different for every one of us. And we all have our own needs and desires and wants. And so what I would say is start thinking about the environment. What is your ideal environment? Okay, so when you think about your ultimate expression of life for you, what environment is that within? So for example, it might be, I need to live by the ocean. I need to be able to wake up and see beach and ocean. That's awesome. That's fantastic. That's a great place to start. Then we move into the details section of it, because the reason why, just a bit of background, the reason why I suggest using the physical building example, so what does your home look like and feel like, is because it's tangible for most people. We've all been in a property of some description, right? So we know that a house consists of a foundational element, a foundation, a framework, a roof, and then the detail. Okay, and that's how this process really works best, is when you construct every area of your ultimate expression of life, how your ultimate expression of life looks for you and feels for you, is to focus on the foundations first, so get the structure there, right, and then do the details. And the detail is important. So when it comes to go back to our example with the house and your home, where is that? What is the first thing you notice about that when you think about your perfect home, right? So, and go into detail. Even the color of the walls, the color of the deck, you know, the color of the front door, what side's the handle on, how many windows does it have, what type of windows are they? You know, which way does the house face, right? Does it have a pool? Does it have a jacuzzi, hot tub, big garden? Is it fenced in? Is it open? Is there woodland? Is there beach? Is there ocean? Just think about everything, but think about it in a multi-sensual way, sensual way, or multi-sensory way even, sorry. I'm losing my words today. But think about it in a multi-sensory way, because when you just think about the physical, the visual, it works, yeah, kind of, okay. But when you really think about the visual, along with what you're hearing, but more importantly and most importantly, because life is an experience, it is to be experienced, right? So more importantly than visual and audible, how does it feel? You know, visceral. How does it actually feel to be there? What are the emotions that come up when you wake up in the morning in this house, in this home, and you look out of your window at that view that you've described in detail? What does that feel like to you? Not just describe the view, oh, it's pretty blue sky and ocean and sand. What does it feel like to you? So when you can work on that, when you really go to town with that and you really spend the time, like I said, there's not a lot to it. There's not a lot of moving parts to this, but the more time you can commit to doing it, the better the experience will be, and the more prolific your your experiences will become over time. And you'll see how that works shortly, but I want to just emphasize the importance of dedicating some time to this every single day. And like I said, to do this the first time, to get the ball rolling, to start you off, at least half an hour, I think would be my minimum, 20 minutes to half an hour, because it gives you enough time to establish a baseline. And then, if you don't have much time tomorrow, 10 minutes, 5 minutes while you're stuck in traffic, or while you're on the train, or while you're at lunch, just close your eyes, switch everything off, close your eyes and think about it then, and fill in some of the blanks. So fill in some of the detail and then get back to what you were doing. That's perfectly acceptable. That's a perfectly good way of doing this if you're pressed for time. But what I would certainly advocate is to kind of set aside at least 30 minutes a day for this, and then once a week give it a full hour, or even 2 if you can. Because as I say, with me, there are very, very, very few days go by where I don't manage to find 10 minutes to do this for me, right? And it is for you. So if you want to give it a label that makes you feel better about spending the time on yourself, self-care is the perfect label for this, because it is self-care. You're taking care of your needs. You're taking care of your own wants and desires by thinking about how you want your ideal expression of life to be for you, right? So think about it that way if it helps. So, like I said, the reason why I gave you the tip of using the home example first is because once you have that down, once you get the idea of how this all fits together, it's so easy then to think about your relationships in the same way. What is the foundation of your relationship, right? What's the structure around your relationship? How do you interact with people? And then the detail, how does it feel to be in that relationship, intimate or otherwise, right? So you see how it works, and you see the benefit to doing this and focusing first on the building aspect, on the actual home aspect of it, is the fact that you can then expand it out into your whole life picture. And you'll end up with a really clear detail of not only your environment, so the home and every other part of your life that is linked to environment. So it could be, it's not just your home necessarily, it starts with home, and that's the base for everything. Okay, that's where you live from, is your home. But it expands so much as well. The places you love to spend time, that's also environment. Your office, that's also environment. Okay, so places, if you're a golfer, right, it's a favorite golf course, that's environment too. But from a slightly different context, but it's still important. Okay, so it's still all environmental. So once you have the environmental part down, and you can just expand that. And I'm not saying that you can't think about anything other than environment in one sitting, because of course you can, right? But I'm just saying, to get used to the process, the environment always seems for me and for other people that I've taught this to be a really good place to start, because it's almost as though it eases you into it. It eases your mind into this gently, and it teaches it. The whole experience is a learning experience, and it teaches how to interact, how to use your brain, how to visualize thoroughly and properly and in detail. So then you can expand it and you can expound on it, and all the detail with regards to relationships, all the detail with regards to your financial situation. How does that look? What does that feel like in your ideal expression, your ultimate expression of life for you? Okay, which is what we're creating here, remember. So how do your finances make you feel? All right, how do you want your finances to make you feel in this ideal expression of life for you? Right? Now, a couple of things to point out here is the fact that we are at no point, the whole point of visualization, the whole point of daydreaming like this, is that there are no limitations. right? There's no limitations. Do not self-edit. If you catch yourself self-editing, kick your own ass, because you need to get out of that habit. Because what happens is when you start to work on this process, when you start the process of creating in your mind first this perfect example of how you want your expression, your ultimate expression of life for you, what that looks like and feels like, what you're doing from a scientific point of view is you are creating a neural pathway in the brain. Now, a neural pathway is what forms habit. And over time, certain habits build up to the extent where they seem unbreakable. And the neural pathway is so well trodden, it's so well worn that it seems unbreakable. But nothing is unbreakable, nothing is impossible, as we discussed in my previous video. But not to get sidetracked, when you follow this process, when you follow the process and you actually daydream and give yourself committed time to doing this, you're creating a neural pathway for creative visualization. So you're creating your perfect expression, your ultimate expression of life for you, right? So the more you do it, the stronger that neural pathway is going to be. Okay, to the point where you will just be able to close your eyes for a brief second and be working on it. Oh, yeah, I'd love that. And be able to see it clearly and experience it. It's like close your eyes for a second and you can see, smell, and experience what it's like to be waking up at the beach, right? That's what we're talking about. And the thing about neural pathways is the fact that if you leave them alone, they wear down and eventually break. So that's why repetition is key to this. The more you do this, the better it gets. The more you do this, the easier it gets. And then something really cool happens, because this is something that I was discussing with my fiance just now, actually, while she was on lunch break. And it's a case of I'm a pretty astute fella, and I've been thinking about the whole law of attraction thing for some years now, and I have kind of mixed opinions on different people's teachings of it. And the pervasive one is that you send out into the universe what you want to come into your life. So you kind of like express what you want to the universe, and then you just wait for it to come into your life. No, it doesn't happen like that. You need to work towards it. And I believe what is actually happening is the way that I would describe what is happening. And I may not be the first one to think this, and I'm not going to claim that I am, but I just thought about it today, and I thought the really cool thing is the fact that when you focus, when you commit to doing this process regularly, this results in advance, this daydreaming on a regular basis, what happens is not only are you setting the intention that this is the life I want to live, this is what I want to have in my life. When you are so committed to doing it, and when you put so much effort into being detailed, and you are creating such a rich, vivid, detailed imagery and experience, that's the crucial one. It's not just about imagery, it's the whole visceral experience of the life you want to live, your ultimate expression of life. Okay? That ultimate expression of life that you want, your outcome, becomes so powerful, it becomes magnetic. So what it does then is it starts pulling you towards it. Okay? There are some people who teach the law of attraction as if it's simply a case of, right, focus on something, put it out there to the universe, and then just wait for it to arrive because you become a magnet to it. No, I don't think it works that way. I really don't think it works that way. I think what happens is the fact that it's the reverse. It's the opposite of that, where your intention, your outcome, in this case, your ultimate expression of life for you, and what that is, becomes magnetic. It becomes the magnet, and it is pulling you towards it every second of every day, because you are consistently focusing on it, because you are consistently giving yourself the gift of 20 minutes a day to go through this process, to creatively visualize the life you want to live, the expression of life that you want to experience. But the really cool thing about it is that when you do that, and when you are crystal clear about what you want, and it becomes magnetic and pulls you towards it, what also happens is with every step you take towards that end goal, that end result, that outcome, that ultimate expression of life, every step you take becomes easier and easier and more effortless for the simple fact that you are removing any resistance. Because if you think about it, there's an analogy that I used with Glors earlier, which is if you imagine standing at the top of a hill and you start walking down slowly, you imagine being pulled by somebody at the bottom of that hill. Okay? Now, if you stop or you start walking backwards, you'll feel that resistance. But can you imagine how easy it would be to just know that if you just walk down that hill in that direction while you're being pulled in that direction at the same time, it's so much freer, it's so much easier, it's so much more effortless to get where you want to go. That's what's happening here, because when your ultimate expression of life becomes so powerful and so magnetic that it's pulling you towards it, your brain, your subconscious mind will go on a quest to find anything that it can to help you get there. So it's coming back to you with ideas, with solutions to problems that you may not even be aware of yet. And I'll get to that in a minute. That's really cool. But so it comes with all kinds of ideas. You'll become aware of people that you never even thought of or knew before that can help you get to where you want to go. Right? The whole prospect of getting to that desired outcome, the life, the expression of life for you, the ultimate expression of life for you, it becomes effortless because not only is it pulling you towards it, but you and your subconscious are working towards it as well. You're working towards getting there too. So you'll get there so much quicker, and you will achieve it with so much more ease, and it will be effortless, and not to mention a hell of a lot of fun. Because when something's easy, it inevitably becomes more fun. When we love what we're doing and it's so easy, it's fun, right? So I don't know many people that would say, no, that's not fun. Doing stuff that's easy and I love doing, good God no. Okay, yeah, okay, please. But what I wanted to say about, I actually forgot what I was going to say from before, but it's just kind of, the whole magnetic element of it is just so cool, because you will automatically feel the resistance dissipate as you get pulled towards the outcome that you want, the life you want to live, as you go through this process of visualizing it, becoming really clear through the process of daydreaming. And you'll achieve it so much faster and with so little effort that it will feel like magic. And it's just it's an amazing feeling, and I just want you all to experience that, which is why I'm sharing this today. And I want to just finish up with a quote that just backs up everything I've said. And it's a quote that, if you've been involved or interested in personal development for any length of time, you've probably heard this quote, but you may not be able to tell me who it is attributed to. But the quote is from some years ago, so it's not exactly what most people these days will consider PC, but I've modified it slightly so that it is more politically correct, and it's gender neutral, so it applies to every single person on the planet. And it is this: it's the fact that we all dream, but not equally. For those who dream at night in the dusty recesses of their mind, will wake in the light of day to find that it was all vanity. Whereas the dreamers of the day they are dangerous, for they may act upon their dream with open eyes and make it possible. So it ties in lovely with the video that I did before on making the impossible possible. And I just love that quote. And, you know, I stammered through that one a little bit because I know the original quote off the top of my head, but just trying to make it PC is kind of tricky. But I didn't want to offend anybody, so that's why I did that. But yeah, I invite you, I mean, I just want to, just out of interest, I'd just be interested to know how many people actually take time to daydream in today's world with everything that's going on. Just be interested to know and to understand how many people actually take that time for themselves. And it is a gift for you. So if you feel bad about giving yourself 30 minutes or an hour a day to do this, or even 10 minutes a day to do this, if you feel bad about it, put it down to self-care, because that's exactly what you're doing. You're looking after, number one, you're looking after you. And I just want you to know that it's such it was such a powerful thing for me to actually realize this. And like I say, I do this every day, spend at least 30 minutes every day. Very few days I don't do 30 minutes or more. And at least twice, 3 times a week, I do an hour plus. And like I said, there's been a few days where it's been 10 minutes and I felt really shitty because I feel like I've let myself down when I do that. That's how you get, after a while, when you practice this and you repeat this over and over again, you'll get so used to it and it'll become so ingrained that you will feel bad when you don't do it. And that's good, because that's the positive reinforcement that we need, that what you're doing is good for you. What you're doing is going to get you where you want to go. It's going to get you what you want to have in your life, the experience that you want to have of life. And that is crucial to anyone's well-being. So that's it for this video. I hope it's been useful. I really hope that you actually follow through with this and you take that time to just sit and daydream. Just 20 minutes to start is okay. 30 minutes is better. An hour is even better. But I understand that with time pressures and families and work and everything else, that some people just can't find that time. But you will see the benefits of it when you do. And when you see the benefits of it and you see how powerful this is and you experience it firsthand, you'll just want to do it. You'll just want to wake up every morning. You won't be able to wait to be able to just find that quiet time and sit and do this. And that's what we want. That's what we want to achieve. We want to make this so habitual that you don't even think about it. It's just part of your day that you love so much. And when you get to that stage, the resistance just goes. It disappears, because what you want, what you've identified as your perfect, your ultimate expression of life for you, your outcome, becomes magnetic. It pulls you towards it at the same time that you are working towards it. And when you're working in the direction you're being pulled, all resistance goes, and it just becomes so much easier, so much more effortless, and so much more fun. And at the end of the day, that's why we're all here. Life is meant to be fun. It's not meant to be a struggle. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I really do. I hope you take me up on this. And I really hope you go and find yourself that time to just commit to starting this process off. You won't regret it. And it's just a really cool practice to get into the habit of doing. I mean, daydreaming gets a bit of a bad rap, but seriously, I've turned out okay, and I've always been an avid daydreamer. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I will see you again in the next video. Please subscribe to the channel for new content. Hit the notification bell also, and drop us a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. So take care, and I will see you in the next one.